A warrior who is left with one bullet at the war front does not shoot aimlessly.
I could dream about Round TV for the rest of my life. Gonna be about Round TV when I'm crying about you.
A gentle touch of the Holy Spirit onto your life. I believe that you are swimming in the pot of health. Even though if things are not moving on well as expected, believe yourself that it shall be well. Let me strike you with this. As ephemeral beings, humans are inherently prone to oblivion. But by retaining a lucid recollection of your humble antecedents, will serve as an efficacious antidote to hubris. Let me tell you, a warrior who is left with one bullet at the war front does not shoot aimlessly. We are humans and we sadly forget things and ourselves. But when you know exactly where you are coming from in life and where you are heading to, the dreams, the vision, and the things that you perspire in life, you wouldn't dare to joke with your life. I am a type that I keep on progressing and I keep on advancing, expatiating my kingdom every now and then. Probably because I don't take things for granted. Most of the times, people take things for granted in their lives. So at the end of the day, they fall short of the glory of God. Most of the people had their very humble beginnings, but getting to their end, they mess up with things. And the Spirit of God, which is the mighty hand of God, left them. And sometimes when the mighty hand of God leaves you, you think you can do things through the capacity of your own intellect and wisdom. Let me tell you the difference between King David and then King Solomon. David was somebody who always remembers exactly where he's coming from, the poor family background that he has when he was on the desert taking care of the flocks over there. He used to remember all these things. So always he humbles himself. He takes into consideration where he's heading in life. And probably because of these things, when he was able to ascertain all things, he remained humble in life. But Solomon was somebody who never took into consideration where he was actually coming from. Being it for a fact that there were some of his senior brothers ahead of him, but yet God left his senior brothers and made him king over Israel. Such an opportunity was given to Solomon, but yet he forgot where he was coming from and misused the favor that God showed him. Such are humans, because we are ephemeral beings. That is why I told you that we humans are ephemeral beings. So sometimes we are inherently prone to oblivion. We forget where we're coming from and where we're going in life, and feel settled and comfortable when a little cash touch our hands, when we are able to put out a little mansion, a little structure over there, where we are able to get a place to put our heads. We become so relaxed and forget where we are going and the sort of dreams that we have. Most people, especially the women, when they were single, they used to run from churches to churches to pray for God to grace them with marriage. But when they had the opportunity to experience marriage, when they entered into that facility, that institution, they went there to forget themselves. They went there to mishandle things. They went there to go and misbehave. Their own attitude, character, and behavioral patterns tends to tear apart their relationship. Their own attitude tends to take off the man towards them. Don't forget exactly where you're coming from. There are some of the women whose family, not even their mom, their sisters, or whoever, that is the family, had the opportunity to experience marriage. But when you had the opportunity, they went in there to misbehave, to forget their roots and exactly where she's coming from and where she's heading to in life. And every man, when you forget exactly where you're going in life, be rest assured that you lose it all. When a man forgets his root, where he's coming from, the background, the family background that you're coming from, be rest assured that you're going to lose it all in life. Why? Because no matter whom you think you are, no matter how powerful you think you are, still you need the touch, a little push from people. So when you don't take into consideration, when you don't retain a lucid recollection of your humble antecedents, you will lose it in life. A king becomes so powerful probably because of the people he has encircled himself with. A queen becomes powerful in a certain kingdom probably because of the type of people she has encircled her life with. The people around the throne are the one who makes you powerful. So when you forget yourself and forget those people who goes out there to advocate your kingdom to people, who makes your kingdom to look so appetizing, who makes your kingdom to look so much pleasing, those people who go out there to put fear on people, to make you look very powerful, when you forget these people, be rest assured that your kingdom will never last in life. No matter how you think you are, whom you think you are, your level of intellectual capabilities. Before you became a lecturer, a professor, you once sat under the feet of somebody. Before you became a medical expert, you were once a junior doctor. This is what you have to understand. So when you forget yourself and feel powerful and become ungrateful unto people who stood on the way, who interceded on your behalf, who fought for you when you were not there, people who spent their resource on you, when you forget these people, we rest assured that that will be the end of your life. Most people don't end up well in life because they forget their root. Most women, most men, they don't necessarily end well in life because they forgot their root, where they are coming from, where they are heading to, the hands that gave them support in life. These people become ungrateful unto them. They turn their back on them. Mr. Politician, let me tell you, on the 7th of January, when elections were held in this country, or wherever that you're watching me, Mr. Politician, on that very memorable day, there were some people who went out there, stood under the hot scorching sun, and casted their votes in your favor. So when you think that you made it to that Parliament House in your own wisdom and capacity, let me tell you that that will be the end of your life. You'll not reign for so long. 4 years is just around the corner. And that's the reality. 4 years is just around the corner. When you don't take into consideration the people that stood with you, the people who stood by you, stood with you, stood behind you, and made you to where you become in life, I'm telling you that you lose it all. Most political leaders, they don't end up well in life because the less privileged people in the society who helped them, who played an underground role to catapult them onto the top of the world, they suddenly forget them. They spit on them. They despise them. They step on them. There were some people who served as a stepping stone. There were people who stood in and availed themselves for them to be used to help you get to the level that you are. Those who spend their hard-earned currency. I've seen countless of people who thought they are powerful. A businessman, you must not forget where the business began, where you want to go in life, what you want your business to become in the near future. When you don't take these things into consideration and see where you're coming from, your humble beginnings of time, when you were advocating your materials, your goods for people to purchase you. When you don't take these things into consideration, and you think today your brand has become a household name, so you will despise your customers, you look down upon your customers, you talk to people anyhow. I am telling you that, believe me, humans can turn you down. Humans can bring you down. Humans can bring you down, no matter how powerful you think you are. When you don't retain a lucid recollection of your humble antecedents, I am telling you that you're not going to make it. You can't get far when you become ungrateful. David became grateful to the Spirit of God because he knew for a fact that he came from nowhere. When he was standing on the desert, when he had nothing to write home about, when he used to fight with lions and tigers in the desert, when his own family forgot him because he had nothing, it was only God that remembered him. It was God who remembered him in heaven and sent his prophet to go and anoint him and bring him home. God knew from a fact that his own father Jesse has forgotten him. They threw David onto the desert and left him over there to take care of the flocks. In the process of taking care of the flocks, the family forgot him. Because when you sit down and analyze whatever that transpired between the prophet and the family, when the prophet visited the family, Bible says that Jesse brought all his sons, the handsome, energetic ones. And when the prophet looked through, he didn't see anybody who is worthy to be crowned as a king for the kingdom of Israel. So he left the family. In the process of returning back, God revealed the man called David unto him. I am telling you this one, that if you don't necessitate and take it into consideration, the people that God has touched their heart to remember you in life, people who laid their life down for you to become whom you have become. If you don't become grateful to your husband, if you don't become grateful to your wife, if you don't become grateful to your friends and people around you, if you don't become grateful unto them, I'm telling you that you will lose it all and you will not get to where you want to go in life. You will not go far. And that's a reality. That's a reality. The kingdom of David became successful. I know for a fact that as an ephemeral being, mistakes, we are born to make mistakes. We are born to make mistakes. I know for a fact. But a wise man, whenever that he makes mistakes, he sits down and rectify things, knowing fully well that whatever that he or she has done is wrong. A wise man always sits down and analyze things and see to it that if he or she is falling in some areas of his or her life, he makes corrections and rectify things. You don't sit down for things to delude you, for things to overshadow you in life. You make corrections. When you are at fault, a wise man will say, I'm sorry, and will definitely apologize. When you apologize to your wife, when you apologize to your husband, when you apologize to your friends, your workers, when you know very well that you are at fault, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't ridicule you. It doesn't mitigate your level of authority. It doesn't take anything out of you. You still remain whom you are. And as a matter of fact, God will even go on to bless you. People have lost it in life, probably because of I'm sorry. The kind of a word that you used, which actually degraded the status of people. When you say things that was highly unprecedented in the annals of people, a wise man will sit down and analyze all these and take it into consideration and see through that where I'm coming from. If I don't take time, I'll sink in life. Many business couldn't sustain the system. Many business, many marriage was not able to stand the face of adversity. Not because of anything, But probably because the owners of the business, those who were involved in the marriage, the two partners, one of them couldn't take into consideration where exactly they are coming from when God favors them with that marriage. Where you're coming from when God favored you with that business of yours. When you forget yourself, you will lose it in your field. When you forget yourself, you lose it. I've seen so many people who thought they have climbed the ladder of success to the apex, and for this reason they don't need the help of anybody. They talk anyhow to their business partners. They talk anyhow to people who stood in for them. There are some people who have a very brilliant nature, and these people are the type who fight for you when you are not around. They stand in, fight for you in your absence. These are people who are gifted with certain specialities, certain qualities. They fight for you. And all these people, when you don't take them into consideration and you think that you are powerful, nobody can bring you down. I know the physical manipulations of the evil ones is at stake. But you see, when you hold people who are fruitful to you, who carries a genuine spirit, who supports you at all levels, who fight for you, when you hold these people in higher esteem and take them into consideration, people who can take off your reproach, people who can take off your vices, your problems, people who can carry your own problem on their shoulder, such people are hardly to be found these days. So if you've got one in your life, please don't be ungrateful. Retain a lucid recollection of your humble antecedent, and it will serve as an efficacious antidote to hubris. When you sit down and take it into consideration, when you had nothing, when it was very difficult for you to even provide for yourself 2 times daily meal, when you used to live at the slums and ghettos of people, when God brought you from all these and made you whom you are, when you forget to take into consideration that you were once a tenant and today God has graced you with a mansion, when you forget all these things, I'm telling you that you lose whatever blessing that God has given you. I can attest to the fact that there were some people that God favored in life, and they thought they made it by their own wisdom, not knowing it was God who graced them. When you sit down and spring back to life, looking into your family, nobody has been successful like you. There are some of you people watching me. None of your brothers, your sisters are educated. You've had the opportunity to experience university, the tertiary level of education. You are the only sort of person in your family who have had that opportunity. You are the only medical doctor in your family. You are the only nurse. You are the only lecturer, a professor, a teacher in your family. When you sit down, you are the only teller. You are the only banker in your family. When you sit down, you are the only person that God has gifted boys, beautiful girls as children. You're the only person. When you sit down and ascertain all things, you will not joke with your life. When you sit down and retain a lucid recollection of your humble beginnings, you will not joke with time. You will not become ungrateful. You become grateful unto the Spirit of God and people who played a significant role in your life. I am a type that I always remember where I'm coming from, the family that I came from. The family that I came from, I always take into consideration and know for a fact that I came from a very poor family background. So I don't joke with life. I don't become ungrateful to people who actually stood in for me and added a little touch onto my life. Be grateful in your marriage. Be grateful in your relationship. Be grateful to your partner. Be grateful to your friends. Be grateful to your business partners. Be grateful whoever put food on your table and whoever that has ever supported you. Don't become pride and arrogant and think you can go without them. There are some people who remains and play a role like a god in your life. There are some people who stood in. When you pray to God, telling God to bring in your destiny helper, those who stepped in and added a little touch to your life, they were the very gods you were praying to. Don't be ungrateful unto them. The other time when Jesus healed those 10 men who were actually suffering from the spirit of leprosy, and he told them to go scot-free. He healed them without taking a dime from them. The 9 people became ungrateful, and they never returned back and said big thank you to our Master Jesus. It was the only one person who returned. And Jesus inquires of the one who returned that, where are the other 9? He said, they have run away. He said, don't worry. If you have had this wisdom to return and say thank you to me, I've accepted your thanksgiving. Go in peace. You see, even Jesus, he expects people to become grateful. When these 10 people who were suffering from the spirit of leprosy, when they were walking and parading on the street just like that, when people forgot them in life, when people looked down upon them, when people disrespect them, when at a time that when you used to speak, your speeches, your talks become a sin of mediocrity in the sight of people. When God took you, cleaned you up, and brought in a destiny helper to support you, don't forget that very moment in your life. Because when you forget it, it is at the same time, in that particular moment, that you fall in life. Remember that as ephemeral beings, humans are inherently prone to oblivion. But by retaining a lucid recollection of your humble antecedent will serve as an efficacious antidote to hubris. Remember that a warrior who stands at the war front and being left with one bullet will never shoot aimlessly. You will always shoot on target. What I want to tell you is that when you sit down and take into consideration where you're coming from and where you're going in life and how far God has brought you in life, you will not joke with your life. Peace unto you. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video, and I believe that you will be blessed. Thank you very much. I appreciate your love, your kindness. Bless you and bless you so much.